Welcome back, everyone. Dan the Man Bilzerian is back, and today he sat with Bradley Martyn in a brand new podcast out today. His last interview with Piers went down a tree, and mad respect for Dan for putting his neck on the line and sticking to his guns. Let's get straight to the podcast, where Bradley begins by asking Dan why. Why does he feel he needs to speak out?
I'm kind of curious, where did you decide? Because you don't have to do seemingly like any of this. You don't really have to make content anymore. I don't think it ever really seeming like you had to. I think obviously you built your personal brand, but you still decide to come and take like real controversial takes. And I'm just curious, when did you decide you were going to do that?
So basically for me, Rafah was the red line. Like I basically, October 7th happened, and I think people started looking at Israel more. And then when they pushed them into refugee camps and they bombed the refugee camps, and this was around about the time, I think it was a Memorial Day or Veterans Day or one of those. I'm an ex-Navy vet, right? And I had been researching this stuff, looking into Israel more, and people had been, going both sides of it. Israel's their mother, they're our best ally, and so I just kind of wanted to do some research for myself, and I saw USS Liberty. I don't know if you.
I've seen this. I've looked into some of the stuff. I don't know all the details of it, so I can't really.
So USS Liberty, I'll give you like a quick breakdown of it. Basically, Israel was at war, and they wanted to drag the U.S. into the war with them. So they attacked one of our Navy ships, and they did. It wasn't just like a regular attack. They were like napalming the decks, blowing up the life rafts. They torpedoed the ship. They just went at this ship for like an hour and a half. And we had called in SOS calls. We were supposedly their ally. And their goal was to sink this ship. They had 4 torpedo boats, like they had multiple gunships, helicopters, jets, and they wanted to sink the ship, and they wanted to blame it on the people they were fighting, false flag attacks, and then we would go and fight the people that they were at war with. And they did the same thing with the Levant affair, and I think they did the same exact thing with 9/11. So they've got a history of these false flag attacks, but at the time, I didn't really know all this. Like, I just started kind of getting into it. And when I read about the USS Liberty, that one kind of hit home because they put a gag order on these people. Basically, they killed all these, U.S. Navy guys. And, like I said, their goal is to blame it on the people they were fighting. And, I'm just like, how the f*** are we allies with a country that's attacked us multiple times, stolen our secrets? As you start to like learn more and more, it's all bad. There's no good. They've done nothing for us ever, and we just constantly send them money.
So for those people who don't know about the USS Liberty incident, it was an attack on the United States Liberty warship back in 1967, which resulted in 34 crew members being killed. Do you know what the most ridiculous thing is? Israel apologized for the attack and said they had mistaken it for an Egyptian ship. Now, how many times have we heard that before? Back in the interview with Piers had a huge problem when it came to their discussion about the Holocaust. Piers didn't really give Dan the opportunity to explain what he meant, so here he is explaining.
The Holocaust, that's what everybody points to. That's why they're so protected. And then you start looking at the numbers of the Holocaust, and it's bullshit. And they revised the figures. It's not like some crazy conspiracy. They said 4 million people died in Auschwitz, and then they literally revised it and said it was more like 1.1 to 1.5 million. Well, it's like, how can you be that far off? It's like less than half of what you said. It's a quarter of what you said, or or like a third of what you said. And then you start looking at like just the math on this stuff. Like the math doesn't math. Like you cannot cremate that many bodies. You'd be cremating those bodies for hundreds of years. Not to mention, like, gas chambers are not like an effective, efficient way to kill people. And these are the Germans. These are the guys that have the best tanks, the best fighter jets, the best technology of anybody in the world. And they're going to put a wooden door in a gas chamber. They're going to just think about the logistics of it. If you just want to kill, say 5-6 million people, you're not going to march 100 of them into a shower at a time, gas them, wait for the gas to release, then put all those people in wheelbarrows, wheel them out, dig. Like, think about the time it would take. Like,
So do you think that none of it happened?
I think that they were not death camps. And when and the Red Cross went in there and they did their assessment. They said 280,000 Jews or 271,000 Jews died in Auschwitz. It was mostly from typhus and mostly from malnutrition. And you look at the only gas they had in the walls, which that gas stays in the walls forever, was Zygon B. And Zygon B is to kill typhus. That's not like what you use to kill people. And so you start looking at this stuff and you're just like, yeah, obviously Jews died in World War II, but like you're talking about a war where like 80 million people died. And you're also talking about like, the communists, which we sided with, prior to that was the Bolshevik communist, revolution. And they killed like 30 million Christians
right.
just during that alone. And those are the people we sided with, and that was 84% Jewish. So, the Bolshevik Revolution was 84% Jewish, and they mass murdered Christians. And nobody talks about that. Why don't they talk about that genocide? They only talk about 6 million Jews, 6 million Jews, 6 million Jews, 6 million Jews. And that 6 million figure was used like 256 times in newspapers, New York Times, all these reputable newspapers before World War II even started. It was 6 million Jews, 6 million Jews. It was like, and then you look at the Census Bureau, and there's more Jews 2 years after World War II than there was before.
Right.
So like the numbers don't make any sense. And also, look, I'm Armenian. They killed half my people, and Israel, denies that genocide. But yet, if you even question their genocide, quote unquote, in Germany, you'll go to jail.
It's a very interesting point that Dan brings up. We've always been told growing up that millions were killed, and we never actually questioned that number. Doing a little research on the official Auschwitz website, it states that 4 gas chambers running at full capacity could gas approximately 4,000 people per day, which is just shy of over 1.5 million per year. However, it also states that when the Soviet entered the camp in 1945, they did not find any documents that could be used to calculate the number of victims. So based on this, I think Dan brings up a good point.
I guess I would say it's a problem with Judaism. So it's a problem with their religion. When you have a religion that teaches you that you're better than other people, when you have a religion that teaches you that you can steal from other people, that you can lie to other people that aren't Jewish, and you have 2 sets of rules, then you obviously are going to have, every excuse to be self-serving. You're going to have every excuse to be selfish. Because look, when you were a little kid, your parents, hopefully, they taught you, good morals. They taught you not to steal from people, whatever. But like, what if they didn't? What if they're like, steal from anybody that's not a Jew? Lie to anybody that's not a Jew. Do whatever it takes to, win. Like, if you are raised with that and you think that that's okay, look at these bat mitzvahs. They like teach the kids, like, you're better than everybody else. Like, that is a reoccurring theme in their religion. The problem with that is, you can start dehumanizing people. When you dehumanize people, you can, you can rationalize genocide. You can rationalize stealing. They're stealing land in the West Bank. They're doing all this stuff. And I think it's a religious problem.
See, so this is where I want to ask you this question. And it gets interesting to me because, okay, say it's not Judaism, right? Say it's Christianity or Catholicism. It's hard for me to fully agree with that point that it's religion based, because even in these other religions, people do shady shit.
100%, but the religion doesn't teach them they're better than other people. Christianity wants other people to be Christian. Muslims want other people to be Christian or Muslim. They say, hey, we believe this is the religion of God. We want everybody to follow it. We think this is the right path. They have their principles. They've got their teachings. And obviously, there's going to be flaws in religions, but Judaism doesn't try and convert anybody. They just think they're better. They just think that we are the chosen ones. Basically, everybody is here to serve us. And so when you have that mentality, look at how they're treating the Palestinians. They're treating them like cattle. And so you're going to obviously treat cattle differently than you're going to treat a human. So when your belief system is such that you are better than everybody else and other people are subhuman, then, you're going to have exactly what's going on in Israel.
Dan sticking to his guns again, and I think he genuinely brings up some good points. Not everything is hanky-dory as it seems, and the questions and arguments he brings forward definitely has some substance. Dan really comes across as someone genuine, with genuine arguments based on research he has carried out himself. This podcast was crazy long. If you want to see a part 2, let me know and I'll compile that together for a second video. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll see you on my next video. Peace out.